Hey everybody, it's Lebo with Lebo's Pinball Getaway Restoration Part 13. Hope it's not an unlucky 13. All right, anyways, let's get rolling on it. So I got the parts that showed up here for dealing with the ball launcher. So if you'd watched one of my earlier videos, you saw where I said, hey, we're gonna just basically redo this. Just kind of put in a new plunger itself. We need a new sleeve for the coil, and we're going to go ahead and throw in a new coil here. This coil, it's looking kind of rough. Once I flip it over, well, I'll go ahead and flip it over now. Here, let's get this rotisserie over on the other side. Some things that look kind of rough about this. Somebody's been in here working on this before, and I'm not really sure what they were doing exactly, but this looks pretty bad. I just don't want to let it go like that. So we're going to put in a whole new coil, but what I'll do is actually take this off and just kind of verify things. It's kind of like what we were doing earlier with the sling coils. I'm going to check the resistance across this and compare it to the new one. Let me flip this back over to look over something else here. And yeah, I mentioned also, yeah, we're replacing the coil, the sleeve, and also this plunger, but here are the new parts that just showed up today. So here's a new coil. It's kind of got kind of a generic craft around it, which should not matter, but since I'm a nerd, you know, it's like, hey, it doesn't have anything that looks real official on it or anything. But anyways, no, it's fine. I'm just being stupid. So here's the new coil. We'll put this on, and I ordered an extra sleeve. Well, I ordered an extra sleeve because I really wasn't 100% sure that the one that comes with this one was going to be the right one, or if it came with one at all. Now, just about every time, actually, I think every single time I've ever ordered a coil from anybody, it always comes with some kind of a sleeve with it. But I have had situations where the particular application that the coil was being used in, the sleeve that came with it wasn't necessarily the sleeve that you needed. It might have to be, needed to be just a little bit longer, or maybe the flange, like here it is. See, that's how it's not on the very end. It's, it's in a little bit, whatever it is, about a 1/4 inch or so. I just want to make sure I had the right one, and I knew that this sleeve was going to be the right one. And it turns out, so if you order this coil, this 147.89, it does come with, the correct sleeve. It lines right up. But I needed this, or I could use this as a spare for my personal getaway. So anyways, it's not even I don't even think it was $1. They're pretty cheap. So here is the plunger, and I want to point out something real quick that I just went ahead and kind of compared to and noticed. So this may be a small issue. Well, issue is probably not the right word, but something we may have to deal with. I'll see. I'm not sure yet. So I've got it kind of lined up here. There, that's the end. That's where it will be resting, right? Because that's where it hits the little rubber bump stop when the spring pushes it all the way back. So with it in its resting position, when it's ready for a ball to, be shot out from this whole trough area over here, look at the tip of the old one, where it's positioned, and the tip of this new one. See, it's out further. That means that the ball is going to be resting a little more forward. So if the ball is going to be sitting here and not here, what is that going to do? Well, potentially, it may have something to do with is it making this switch or not in its resting position. And like I was saying, it's not really an issue. It's just something to kind of watch for. And so if I start having a problem where the ball shoots out here and it doesn't know that the ball's there, I'm not sure what the behavior might be. I don't know that it would try kicking another ball. I don't think it would do that. Or I don't know, maybe it just doesn't know the ball's there yet, and you try to plunge it, maybe it won't do anything. I don't know, but something to watch for. Just little stuff like that. You gotta make sure that you don't have an issue. So we're gonna get started here. One other thing that I want to note is that since I've got this on the rotisserie, and I've got these things, this is an accessory that comes with the rotisserie that I really recommend that you get. If you ever get one of these from Pendock, I would get it with these extra pieces. They're called sliders, and what they're made to do is this basically adapts into this end piece and bolts into the end of the play field where the hangers normally go, and it just makes it even more of a secure connection. By the way, if anybody happens to be at the Pin Expo in Chicago here in a couple weeks, I am planning on being there. In fact, I'll be helping out a little bit at the at a booth for Pindock. He's actually going to have several rotisseries there. So if you happen to be up there and you're in the area, come see if you can find me. That would be awesome if I had somebody that came out and said, "Hey, Lebo." That would be pretty wild to go 6.5 hours away and have somebody find me. Anyways, let's get rolling on this. Gonna knock this out. Here we go. Oh yeah, while I'm out replacing this coil here, this was a good time to go ahead and install one of these clippies here for the whole little ball launcher area. So I went ahead and took out these 2 screws here because they go right in this little slotted area. And there's one other hole here, and that's actually for a screw that was underneath the bottom that I went ahead and took out completely. I didn't need to take these completely out because it's slotted. I could have just kind of loosened them and slid them in there, but I went ahead and did that. So let's see if we can get this in here, get this in position. This basically just, kind of helps. It's not only just kind of help protecting wood, like in this case, this is already had a little bit of wood damage here, but it helps kind of cover that up. And the hard part is going to be slipping this underneath part of this rail here. It looks like it's starting to go. Okay. This a little more in position, and then we will run the screw underneath, and then we'll be good. Now it's time to swap out that coil and that plunger, but before we do that, I wanted to go ahead and just check the resistance on this coil and then compare it to the new one. Let's see what we get here. Sometimes this takes a little while for it to kind of level out. Like I'm seeing, call it 3.4, 3.3 ohms, 3.4, thereabouts. All right, let's go over here and try this one. See if I can get good contact here. All right. 3.5, 3.4. Looks like it's like almost exactly the same. So this tells me I think that coil was fine, at least as far as the circuit's concerned. But I mean, look at this. This is a mess. It was soldered on there. It was just kind of barely hanging on. And the other thing, the wires. So let me see if I can kind of show this over on the machine. So this is gonna be a little hard to get to right now, because I've got the playfield coming upside down. But what in the world's going on here? There's been like a little extension of the wire that wasn't really necessary, because this whole harness, it goes over from this other little, I forget the name of this board, but it basically takes the signal and additional power, and it's kind of like a transistor, kind of, from what I can tell. And I think it just allows a higher amount of power to be delivered to this coil than what the normal wire that would be coming in here that would provide. But anyways, I'm gonna basically just kind of cut these wires off right here where it was soldered on, and extend it into some other random color, because the correct color per the schematic or whatever is that this wire is indeed supposed to be, it's purple with an orange stripe, and it looks kind of bad. And then this other one's brown. So I just want to actually have that just to kind of make it easier for somebody else ever trying to diagnose things. Just to have the right color extended all the way through the coil, and it'll reach. So see, it goes all the way over there. I don't know why. All right, let's get putting it together. Yeah, so take a look at this. As I'm taking this thing apart, this sleeve that normally would have like that ridge around here, that little flange, it's gone. I guess it's broken off. I don't even know how that sleeve was really being held in. Oh, there it is. Just kind of hiding out right there. So that broke off. Gosh, that sleeve's bad. And on top of it, because this other end has been flaring out so much, I can't get the sleeve off. I'll grind that down because I need to get that off. Not because I want to salvage the sleeve or this at all, but I need to get that spring off because I didn't order a new spring. At least I don't think I did. Yeah, no, I didn't order a spring, so I'm going to reuse that spring. That one should be fine, but I got to pull this off to get it out. So I had it all together, and I kind of noticed that, I don't know, it was just kind of dragging, kind of slow. I've taken it apart, and it's maybe a little bit less, but I got looking here real close. When this thing got put together, there's a little roll pin that holds this plastic section to the metal section. And you kind of know if you can tell, but just a tiny little bit of that is hanging out. I'm going to go punch that in just a little bit more. It looks like it wasn't pressed in as far as it needs to, and it's just dragging a little bit on this, so not a huge deal. Just going to go take a little punch, a hammer, and just knock it in just a little further. And then I'll put everything back together, and then we'll be good to continue. It's a lot better now. It was dragging before. I didn't quite capture it in the video, but now it's sliding nice and smooth. All right, it's ready to go put it back in the game. Alright, so we got it installed, we got the screws in, the wires soldered. Now all we gotta do is just give it a test. I've got the test mode set up here. Let's see if we can start it. Oops, wrong one. Let's do this. There we go. Whoops. Let's back it up here. Make sure alright. Repeat testing here. Looks like it's running good. Let me go ahead and stop this real quick. So once we get everything back in, I really can't test it completely right now because it's not in the game and it's not raked quite right. But once we get the ball in here, we can test it for sure to make sure it's getting around the orbit nice and everything. One other thing is a slight little adjustment here. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was putting this back in, this bracket's slotted there, just left, right. So that means that will allow you to have a little bit of movement here, you know, left to right, and actually probably a little bit of an angle here. Now, right now, I think I've got it pretty well lined up. It might take a tiny bit of tweaking, but honestly, I think it's probably good. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up for the night and pick it up the next session. So, thanks for watching.